Hey, we're back.
Hello.
This has been a while.
I know. I'm so excited. I feel good about being back.
Yeah, I think we missed this.
We did.
I missed this. I should speak for myself.
I missed this too.
Yeah, and I think after a lot of listener feedback, a lot of people were reaching out to us. We're like, hey, I think we need to keep doing this.
Our 5 listeners, they were like begging, like, please come back. And we were like, oh, fine.
Yeah, so we're back. Evolve Marriage podcast is back.
Yes, sir.
We took like a sabbatical for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Figured ourselves out. Been through a lot.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, we had a movemented summer. That's not an English
movemented
word.
summer. I agree. We did have a movemented summer.
It's not. It's a French word. I don't know how to translate it. We had a busy, emotionally busy
Draining
summer. Not draining. We're going through it. Honestly, it's like we're de-shedding our old skin and starting over.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a great time for us to do the podcast like this because, you know, when we first did this podcast, it was almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Right? 2.5 years ago. And we had like kind of our marriage philosophy.
mm-hmm.
And we had like thought a lot about different things and stuff like that. And we've evolved
Yes.
as individuals,
Yes.
as a couple.
Yes.
And we wanted to present kind of what we've learned, but also give people a framework of what we think makes a really great marriage.
Yeah, I would love that. I love that we're starting over and kind of giving a new face to the evolved marriage. Kind of like as we grow, as we get older, like our marriage has to grow with us and we have to mature our marriage. So taking what we've learned, taking our experiences and really putting it into this like framework that helps us see, you know, what makes an evolved marriage and then can help you, the listeners, understand, you know, how you can follow suit, how you can do it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Before starting, wait, I want to ask you a question.
All right. Awesome.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can ask a question.
What did I do this week that made you feel seen? One thing.
You planned and executed a date night for us just to be together. Actually, if I'm being even more specific, when we went out on that date night and we saw that crowd like out in public dancing, and you got really uncomfortable and started like dancing with me in that crowd.
You felt seen?
I felt like seen. I was like,
I felt like I was running away from you.
Yeah, I was like, she's putting herself out there, like kind of matching my energy.
It was really nice though. There was like, it was so cool. Like we were downtown and there's always this beautiful energy downtown. Like I love being around
it's like
other
not
humans.
Suburb energy.
Yeah. And I miss the energy. And then I go downtown and the energy like overwhelms me. I'm like, this is so cool. I love watching it. But like from a distance. And then you're like, we heard this like Latin music and I love Latin music. Like I love dancing to it. I love hearing it. But
I know that about you. I know that.
So you're like, let's go in this crowd and dance. And I was like, you know what happened? This girl dancing beside us, obviously Latina at heart and soul, like knew exactly what she was doing. And she had like something dance studio on her shirt. And I was like, why are we beside the queen of dancing? Like, nuh-uh. Like I'm going to bump into her and then she's going to turn around and be like, oh, lady. So that's kind of what happened. That's why I wanted to run away so bad. But I am glad that I'm glad you said that because in my head, the story I made up was that was a disconnecting moment for you because I didn't dance through a whole song. We literally danced for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I was like, ah! Like, and then the whole time I was dancing, I looked like a crunched over zombie grandma. Like, oh my God. Like, don't.
Yeah, I think for me, like the way that I often kind of celebrate love and commitment is through like effort and like putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation, you know? And so I think in that moment, like, yeah, it meant a lot to me to see you be like, the story in my head was like, you're uncomfortable and you're doing it anyways because I want to experience this with you.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you being like, I'm okay with like being uncomfortable because I'm safe here and I'm with you and like that matters. And like the idea that like I'm getting uncomfortable for you matters. I think that's really important to me.
Okay.
And I think, you know, I think about this because I hear a lot of men, it's like, we want our partners to do something like things for us, but we don't want them to be uncomfortable about it.
Right.
Right. So in that moment, like the old me might have been like, oh, like we'll never do that again because like you're uncomfortable and I never want you to be uncomfortable. I want you only to do things that you love doing all the time.
Yeah.
But it's
and
like,
we actually talked about that this morning where I was like, no, I would have actually needed you in that moment to be like, let's go deeper in this crowd. Let's stay for an extra 5 minutes. And I think that that would have been very scary, but honestly, like I would do it again. And I think next time I would be less in my head about it. I would be like, no, you know what? You did this for like 10 seconds last time. Like, I think if you last an extra 5 minutes, like the world's not going to implode, even if you bump into a person who has a superior dance shirt on.
well, and I think it is like,
she even
both
had
of us-
heels on. Like,
yeah,
oh
she
my
was great.
God.
Yeah, she was great. She was dancing up a storm. And
Yeah.
I think it is like allowing ourselves to sit in the discomfort. Like, can we do that? Right? Is it worth? Because I think any sort of growth and change is going to have to come with a bit of discomfort.
Yeah.
And so if in that moment you just want to prioritize your comfort zone, like that's fine. You can do it, but you're not going to be able to experience some of these things that are really meaningful.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's such a great foundation for like our marriage and our relationship. It's like, I'm willing to get uncomfortable if it means that the payoff is something that I want to experience.
Right.
And I think that's pretty magical.
Yeah. And you're okay with putting me in an uncomfortable situation because you know it's a safe, uncomfortable situation.
That, and I trust you to really be honest about your own comfort level. What I don't want is I don't want to try to manage your discomfort.
Right.
I don't want to be responsible to be like, Kate's so uncomfortable, so I need to save her from this. Like, I don't know, that would almost be like preventing your growth. So it's like, in those moments, it's like, I trust Kate that if she really doesn't want to dance, she's really going to say, I'm sorry, Eric, like, I don't want to do this. I'm going to keep walking. Right?
I'm about to throw up on somebody.
Sure. And like, that's okay. Right. And so I think that's a big part of what makes our relationship work is like, I trust you to have your boundaries. And I think that's really important because, you know, because I can trust you, then I can push the limits.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be like, I have to manage Kate's emotional state here. I can be like, I can just let Kate be herself. And if being herself means I don't want to do this or I'm willing to get uncomfortable, that is great for you because you can have your own experience.
Yeah, I like that.
Right back at you. What is something that I did recently that made you feel seen and heard?
A few things, but I think the one that comes top of mind is yesterday during our walk. I had a overwhelming day yesterday. There was like a lot of emotions coming up, a lot of work in my head and talking in my head and living in my head. And you suggested we go for a walk alone. And I was like, oh, okay. And then part of me thought that, and I think oftentimes this happens, is part of me thinks that I need to talk it out when things are in my head, that I need to talk it out and that I need to like word vomit all over you and, you know, have you see exactly what's going on in my head so you understand. And it kind of justifies why I'm in my head. You know, by doing that, it's like you can be like, you have permission to be in your head because it does sound very overwhelming. Like that's like ideally what I would like for you to say in my ideal world. But yesterday during the walk, there was this moment where you like stopped walking and you were like, why don't we just stop? And I was like, looking at you standing in the middle of a sidewalk, thinking all the freaking neighbors are looking at us and thinking, what is this crazy person doing? And that we're going to be all over the forums. Like, there's this crazy man walking and he keeps stopping and closing his eyes. And he's standing in front of my driveway with his eyes closed. Why did this man
stop walking?
And I'm like, oh God, the whole city's going to talk about us. And then at one point during the walk, you actually like gave me permission, not in the way of like, here's the permission to do it, but the way you spoke kind of gave me that like validation, that permission to like stop talking. And I was like, wow, like not only did stop talking quiet my mouth and my thoughts and all of the things, but it actually quieted my mind. Which I was like, this is nice. I can now hear the birds during the last 2 seconds of our walk. Like, I just spent the whole walk trying to be like, this is why everything's wrong. And then I was like digging myself into deeper and deeper holes. And it was just like one thing was leading to the next. And then I was like trying to like, I don't know what I was trying to make you see how overwhelmed I was and for you to be like, wow, you're really overwhelmed. But yeah, I think that you giving me this space made me really feel like, oh yeah, like he sees me. Because oftentimes when we have arguments or when we're, not at our healthiest selves, you often will tell me like, you're not talking, you're not saying anything, you're just kind of standing there. And so I'm like, okay, well, to make Eric feel comfortable, I need to talk, I need to say things.
Mm-hmm.
And so yesterday during the walk, when you were like maybe deep down inside, there was this part of me that was like, I just want to be quiet. I just want to not talk. I just want to be like silent. But then another part of me was like, well, no, I have to justify why I'm cranky and
or like Eric's not okay with just walking silently.
Yeah. And he needs me to talk it out, and he wants to help me figure it out, and he wants to save me and blah, blah. And when you were like, let's just be quiet, I was like, oh, like that's okay. Like, and I didn't say that, but this is what was going on in my head. And then it made me feel like very safe, very seen, because I am a person who like processes things at a slower pace. I need more time to think things through. And oftentimes, like thinking things through, I'm able to like walk through it faster instead of like when I talk about it and blah, blah, because then I just go down this like rabbit hole of like drama.
Yeah. And I think a lot about like how many of us as humans just want our experience to be validated, right? It's like, can you just sit by me while I am just true to myself, right? In that moment, it's like, I don't want to say anything. I just want to sit here quietly, or I just want to walk quietly. Are you able to just accept that of me and be with me? And like how much security that creates for a person, right? No matter what I need. Maybe it's like, can you just walk with me while I just word vomit on you, right?
Yeah,
like,
and there's even
okay,
points where
right?
I'm like crying and you just put your hand on my back and just not say anything. And it was just like, it's okay for you to cry in this moment. Like you don't have to justify why you're crying or apologize for crying. You can just be like totally yourself. Like, and
just like let it go.
Let it go. Like just feel through that emotion, because I know that that's something that I need to start working through, is feeling through my emotions, not repressing them, not pretending they're not there, not pushing them back. I need to, when I'm angry, I need to feel through my anger. When I'm sad, I need to not hold back the tears. Like, I can't remember when the last time is that I had like a good cry, just to like let that out. And I can feel myself like oftentimes, like just now, even like I'm talking about crying and I'm like, oh my God, I need to cry. And it's like, but that's because I repress it and suppress it so much that I'm like, just like, whew, Kate, stop. Just, you don't have time to cry right now. And it's like, but then it makes me this like on edge person, always like on the verge of crying, like, oh, I'm going to cry again. Instead of like, let's just have like a good 10-minute cry, get it out of our system, live that emotion through, and period, we're done. Like,
yeah, I feel awesome after I cry.
Yeah, you love crying. You like watch
I would say
movies
like I love crying, but I
to
do
make
watch
yourself cry.
100%. Like I love.
I don't need movies to make myself cry.
Yeah.
I just need to sit there for 5 seconds and allow myself to cry.
Yeah, when I'm feeling sad, yeah, it's true. I mean, everybody's got their thing, but when I'm feeling sad, like listening to melancholic music and allowing myself to feel sad, I think is very important for me, right? Because otherwise, like it ends up manifesting as anger and resentment, and it's like I don't want to be sad, but I'm like, no, I'm okay with being sad.
Yeah,
nothing wrong. I'll work through this. Which is
and
important.
I think my fear is that if I start crying, I won't stop crying.
Yep, you'll lose yourself in it.
Yeah,
100%.
and it's like I just need to trust that like that's not going to happen. Like I have control over my body. I can stop crying. If I can hold myself from crying, I can definitely stop myself from crying if it becomes too much.
Yeah, and I think that goes back into like the rational part of a lot of us, which is like, if I become too emotional, then I won't be able to function and like succeed. And I think that's really like what Western society has taught us. That's why we're like, why are you crying? Like, it's like, it's not valuable to cry. Like, it doesn't help you.
Yeah.
But it's like,
actually,
it
let's
does
find a
help
solution.
you.
Yeah.
It just won't get you the next dollar or the next result or the next.
But it will help you get that emotion, feel that emotion, let it move through you, so you can pass on to another emotion and not just keep like banking those emotions for later.
Yeah, it'll probably help you not die 10 years earlier.
True that. Yeah, true that. Well, thank you for answering that.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking. That was a great question, actually.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, listeners, we do this at the beginning of every episode, is we kind of just ask and model questions that you can ask your partners, right? This is a way to just connect.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you're feeling inspired, go ahead and text your partner, ask your partner just a simple open-ended question so you can start a conversation. What we really wanted to do was share kind of the 9 steps of leading an evolved marriage and breaking that down. And then what we're going to do is for each of these steps, we're going to create a separate episode and really go deep into it to give you actionable ways that you can start to excel at this, right?
Yeah, so today is really just giving you like an overview of the framework and kind of what we've learned along the way and how we have created our evolved marriage and evolved our marriage with time and, what makes for a successful marriage.
Yeah, and I think, so our team will put it up, but essentially like if you think about a triangle, right, and kind of evolved marriage being at the center of that triangle, there's really like 3 big buckets that an evolved marriage needs in order to thrive. The first bucket is leading yourself, right? And so this is a really big priority. And if you think about the first bucket,
it's really the foundation,
exactly, of the triangle, then that breaks down into 3 different parts. So we've taken this idea of leading yourself, which is incredibly important because if you can't lead yourself, it's very hard to be in relationship with others, right? And so then if you take lead yourself and you break it down, there's 3 different parts to it.
Right. Yeah, so leading yourself, one of the main parts of that is having a clear vision, having clear values for your life, for yourself. So what is it that I need and how do I want to live my life for myself? And how do I want to show up really in my life so that I am being my true authentic person, like how I'm showing up as Kate for Kate and not trying to do things to please other people or to appease other people.
Or like just running somebody else's blueprint, right? And again, we're going to
Exactly.
talk more about this into the very specific episode we're going to talk about, but like how many of us are actually running somebody else's blueprint?
Yeah,
right? Beliefs that were
or
passed down to us.
yeah, and because you're so close in relationship when you're in marriage, and we've been passed down this idea for generations of like, being married means you have to have shared visions, you have to have shared values. Absolutely. But you also have to have a very strong vision and strong values of where you stand in life. And if your shared visions, values, goals aren't aligned, then there's work to be done there. And there's things that need to be explored there and decisions that need to be made around that. But, having a very strong foundation of who you are as a person is essential for a marriage to work.
Yeah. The second part of leading yourself is really about self-confidence, right? I think a lot of us have very little to no self-esteem, especially the whole comparison game of the society. But the reality is, like, if you're not confident, it's going to be very hard for you to step up, advocate for your needs, be in communication with others in a really healthy way. What we have found is typically when people lack self-confidence or self-esteem, they're outsourcing it.
Yeah.
Right? Either outsourcing it through board functioning of their partners, outsourcing it to driving to the next success all the time, outsourcing it by buying new cars or having a nice house in order to kind of gain status in society, etc. And so it's really important that you create a base of your own self-confidence, of your own self-esteem, so that you don't sacrifice yourself in relationship, right? Think about if you're in a relationship where it's very hard for you just to be in disagreement with your partner, that's probably because you're lacking a lot of self-confidence, right? It's like, no, I need my partner to agree with me all the time. And if they don't agree with me, then I have to get on the same page with them, right? And that's leading to a lot of conflict where it's like, we can't just agree to disagree.
Exactly. And having enough confidence, going back on the vision values, having enough confidence to live those, to, when things get hard, when people are questioning your vision or your values, that you can stand strong by them and be like, you might disagree with the way that I live my life, but this is how I live my life. And having enough confidence to stand strong in adversity and stand strong when people question you and stand strong for what you believe in.
Yeah. The third part of leading yourself is what we call responding instead of reacting.
Yes.
And like, this is really just a simple way of saying, like, this is the work, right? A lot of us who have done personal growth, who are creating self-awareness, who are learning about our belief systems, about our traumas, all that kind of stuff. This is so that you can respond to life instead of constantly reacting, right? Think about if, you're waking up in the morning and you're just picking up your phone and looking at all your texts and emails and have to answer them right away and all that stuff. That's you reacting to life, right? You're not actually thinking about, hey, is this healthy for me? Maybe I need to take an hour in the morning just to like get ready for my day and connect to myself and breathe. Instead, you're just like, I need to react and I need to like make sure that everything's taken care of around me all the time. And because of that, you probably are stressed out a lot, feeling quite anxious, right? Always need to be in control all the time. And it's leading to a lot of dysregulation for yourself.
Yeah,
Right?
and that really goes back to because you're so busy, pleasing everyone else, dictating to everyone else, and doing things that everyone else you think they want you to do, you're not able to be authentically you. You don't have space for yourself in your life. You're not living your life. You're letting life lead you and live you, like you're just responding to reacting to absolutely everything around you instead of taking a step back and thinking, well, where does this fit in my life? And is this something that fits into my life? And being true to yourself.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this in kind of its own episode, but typically people who are constantly reacting to life wake up down the road, right, 12, 13 years later and realize, hey, I've been sacrificing myself, trying to please my husband, please my wife, please my kids for the last 13 years, and now I'm sick of it. So I need to get separated, I need to get divorced, I need to have my own life. And that is most likely because you haven't been able to respond through life. Instead, you're just reacting, feeling pressured to take care of everybody else instead of having healthy boundaries.
I'm actually really excited to do this episode because, self-sabotage, all these things, they all fall into that. So much that I'm learning about right now falls into the fact that, we're always reacting instead of responding. We're not listening to our intuition. We're not feeling into our gut. We're not feeling into our body. Instead, we're just, what's next? What can I do? What can I do to fix everything around me? And then you wake up one day and you're like, oh my God, I hate my life. I'm so unhappy right now. And obviously, honestly, the first thing that usually goes is, I'm unhappy. I'm going to leave this marriage because this is, not making me happy. And it's like, well, wait, there's probably a million one things you can do before trying that. But
yeah. So I think it'd be exciting to dive into that.
Yes, I'm very excited.
So that's the foundation of the triangle, which is leading yourself, right? Self-confidence and esteem, responding instead of reacting, and then vision and values. The second part, as you kind of move through the triangle, right? And my team will put this up now, is what we call conscious communication, which again is broken down into three parts, right? And this is really important for us to model this for you guys and kind of view it on the screen, because once you start to see how it works, right, it kind of builds on itself. You don't want to be focused on the last part of the triangle if you don't have healthy self-confidence, et cetera.
Right.
And so when it comes to conscious communication, it's broken down into three parts. And the first part is building trust, right? Are you trustworthy? Is there trust in your relationship, right? As you're communicating, does your word matter?
Yes.
And I think this is really important for a lot of people because for a lot of times in a relationship, especially if you're a people pleaser, you're just saying a whole bunch of stuff and then you're not following through on it. And that is a breach of trust, right? And that breaks down communication, right? Getting a point in your relationship where it's like, the communication doesn't even matter because there's no trust here behind it. And so whatever you're saying is very hard to believe, right? And so building trust is a foundation in having healthy communication.
Right. And then the next aspect to conscious communication is understanding your partner. Do you truly understand your partner? When you guys are having an argument, a disagreement, or, not showing up as your best self, can you see beyond the words that are being said because you truly understand this person you've been married to? I know oftentimes, when we're having a disagreement, I can see beyond the words and the accusations and, your unhealthy way of speaking. And I can be like, wow, sounds like Eric's really hurt right now. Sounds like he's really lonely. He's just unable to find the words right now in his unhealthy way of showing up to express that to me. So instead of being upset that he's, complaining about something that's very superficial, I can truly understand where he's coming from. And that's because we've taken the time to have the hard talks, to have the hard conversations, to really open up about our childhood baggage, our family of origin, understanding where we came from, how that has an impact even today in our life. and, setting those clear boundaries, having those clear conversations to really open up and talk about the real things and the hard conversations.
Yeah, and also I think at the same time, like it is about like understanding your partner's fears, their desires, their dreams.
Yes.
Right? Like a lot of us are just living in transactional relationships, and we're not having conscious communication about our fears, our desires, our dreams, how we feel, etc. Instead, we're just having conversations about where the kids need to go, at what time, and what we don't want and what we want, and criticism of always being on your cell phone, etc. Right?
Yeah, and how was your day? It was good. There's no going further with that. What made your day good? How did it make your day good? And then understanding, being able to take that information, and when you want to, create a good day for your partner, knowing that like, well, last time he had a good day, it was because this, that, and the other thing. And this is all because you understand your partner, because you truly, truly know them.
Yeah. And then the last part of conscious communication really is advocating for yourself. And people kind of suck at this. I think about this a lot. Like either you really don't understand what it is you need, or you have come to a point where you accept that your needs just and wants and desires just are not valid because maybe you're not going to get them. So then you invalidate them. Or you're even unable to receive what is being given for you, right? Like I've seen, I'm like this in a relationship where I'm like, this is what I want, and I'm like, feeling this and I need this from you. And so again, like the way I'm advocating it is really unhealthy, right? It's not really landing for you. It's just like a cry for help. But then even after you provide some of these things for me, I'm unable to receive it because my tolerance for receiving love is so low. Like that's a skill that I've had to practice, right? And so that all falls into advocating for yourself, right? Is not only are you able to express what it is you want, desire, need in the way that you understand it, but then are you able to be in attune with your partner so that they can actually receive it, almost as an invitation to create that.
Yeah.
Instead of you're never doing this and you're not doing enough, et cetera, right?
Yeah, and this is a prime example of why, going through the triangle in a specific order is so important, because if you haven't been able to lead yourself, if you lack self-confidence, if you lack self-esteem, well, this is going to be really, really hard to do if you've never learned to lead yourself in your life, to advocate for yourself, to have a deep knowing of what it is that you need in a relationship. That's something that you need to do before you can start advocating to another person. You need to be able to advocate to yourself before advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to dive deep into that in the following weeks, in our following episodes.
And then the last part, right? So the last part of coming out of the triangle is what we call genuine connection. And really what we want to move away from here is like pseudo intimacy, fake intimacy, right? Connection that's just really surface level, and go deeper. And so the genuine connection part and are broken down into 3 different aspects, right? The first one is emotional intimacy. And the next 2 really are hard to experience without a foundation of healthy emotional intimacy. And what we're talking about here, and we're going to go deep into another episode about this, but really is about revealing yourself to your partner, feeling psychologically safe with your partner, believing that your partner has your back and wants to be with you, right? And believing that you choose each other. And that's a big part of the emotional intimacy part, which is cultivated, right? It's not just something that just exists and is always there. It's something that needs to be continuously worked on and provided for, and I would say like brought effort to, right? Yeah. Which I think is really important.
Yeah. And the next aspect of the genuine connection is the physical affection, which
not to be confused
with sex, because it is not. It really is about touching, being close to each other, even just close in proximity. Being able to look at each other in the eyes, maybe being able to hold each other without saying anything, without expecting anything, without it leading to anything, just being able to be in close proximity with your partner can be very uncomfortable for some people, and especially when there has been disconnection in the communication, when there has been disconnection with yourself, it's very hard to tune into that part of your relationship, to be able to get yourself in a vulnerable place, to be touched, to be, physically affectionate with the person you love. There has to be trust. There has to be safety before this can even be attempted. So this is something that we're definitely going to dive deep into probably in a few episodes, because it's something that we desire a lot as humans. As humans, being physically affectionate actually alters our brain chemistry. And so not having that in a relationship, or being okay with excusing it and not asking for it, can have some severe consequences on your physiological and emotional well-being. So this is something that often gets pushed aside in relationships, because it is a very vulnerable thing to allow another person into your bubble, into your space, especially when you're feeling unsafe and disconnected.
Yeah, I love that you said that. I'm really happy. I'm really excited to dive into this episode specifically around physical affection, because I think this is where a lot of couples get stuck.
Yes.
And then the last part is sexual pleasure, right?
Which is about the sex.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally. And I think more than just like penetration, right? Like it's like, are we experiencing sex that is pleasurable for both of us, connecting to both of us? Are we talking about sex? Are we
able to have those conversations that truly express what it is that we desire? I think so many different people have studied this and looked into it, and there's a lot of people who hold back what they desire because they're embarrassed about asking for what it is they need or want, or they think it's wrong, or they think that they shouldn't want or need these things. And we really want to demystify these thoughts of, that I'm abnormal for wanting this much sex, or wanting this kind of sex, or wanting this kind of touch, or needing this before I can even have sex. We really want to break that down and make sure that everyone is feeling like they can have a voice when it comes to their sexual needs and sexual pleasure.
Yeah, I agree. And I think teaching you the skills in that episode to cultivate ways to have the conversation, but also how can we experience more pleasure and connection in the type of sexual intimacy that is based on what we want, right? Not what society tells us we should want, which I think will be really powerful. So that's the model. Again, one of the things that you might want to do now is just kind of rate yourself. We love like the red, yellow, green kind of traffic light model, but just think about each of these parts, right? When it comes to leading yourself, your self-confidence, the way that you respond instead of react, having vision and values. Are you red, which is like not in a good place around these, or it's not really a priority? Yellow, meaning like I kind of have an idea, but I'm not committed to the follow through. Or green, meaning like, yeah, this is a really great area of my life. I feel really confident in my relationship, right? And then moving on to conscious communication, doing the same for each three. And then finally, genuine connection and doing the same for those, right?
Yeah.
That'll give you an idea of where to start.
Yeah. And doing this solo, but then maybe sharing, if you feel comfortable, sharing your answers with your spouse and seeing where they're at. Maybe they're feeling green when it comes to sexual pleasure, and then you're in the red. Well, having those conversations, trying to figure out, okay, well, why are we, so different in that aspect? What is working for you that's not working for me? That can be a very beneficial thing for your relationship. So taking the time, if you're at a place where you can do so, to do this solo and then come together and share each other's answers, can be very eye-opening and give you the opportunity to evolve your marriage.
Yeah, I love that. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, we'd love for you just to follow and leave us a review. Or leave us a star rating on Spotify. It really helps us out. And then if you are listening to us on YouTube, we always recommend you subscribe, but also drop a comment. Let us know how you feel about us being back, how you feel about what we're saying, right? Whether some of this aligns with you.
Ask us questions. I love questions.
100%. And we bring a lot of those questions to the episodes to answer, because we want to help you in the best way we can, and we need your voice and your feedback to do that. And so again, we're back. We're going to be dropping episodes every week. The schedule has changed a little bit. I think we'll probably be dropping on Thursday or Friday. But really excited to be back, and we would love your support so we can continue to grow this movement. See you next time.
Bye.